3 months to come once a month, do some consulting and getting us all ready for that time. For this particular trip, my wife, the Reverend Zoelzer, has come with me, so she's sitting down front here today. So you can introduce yourself to her when we go out for the annual meeting today. The doctor said, "Jason, your MRI looks like someone in a wheelchair." And the doctor said this in his most professional voice that he reserved for announcing serious illness. This came as quite a shock to Jason due to the fact that he was only 27 and just been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And as he listened to the words, and the doctor kept talking about how it could progress into loss of bodily functions and other kind of things going on, and blindness. And as the words kept coming in, he looked at his wife, Tracy, who was shedding a small tear. The doctor didn't seem to be giving much hope. And all he seemed to be doing was scaring them. So they mumbled their goodbyes and quickly got out of the office and headed for home. And as they drove home, he told his wife that he wanted to stop by the office after he dropped her off at the home. Jason was in the construction business. He and his father had been in the construction. His father had a construction company where they built commercial buildings. And he started walking the steel beams when he was 14 years of age. And he felt more comfortable on a construction site. And he knew it was hard, back-breaking labor that he was engaged in with his father. And he knew he didn't want to leave his dad down. So he dropped his wife off and said he had to go to the office for a little bit, but on the way there he stopped by his church. And he sat in the pew and contemplated the news that he had received and thought about the childhood memories of being in that place, and then lifted up a prayer to God. Please, please, God, help me beat this thing. And then went off to the office. Well, about 2 weeks later, it seemed like a miracle happened because he was reading the local newspaper, and in the sports section, there was a story about one of the coaches at the state college who also had multiple sclerosis and was using a strict diet to overcome the symptoms. And he saw this as a ray of hope, so he made an appointment with a man named Pat, and the two of them spent hours together talking about diet and vitamins and supplements and workout routines, and that gave him some idea of what he needed to be doing. And he never forgot one of the things that Pat said to him, which was, "Jason, never give up." So Jason started this workout program that was a special diet and a workout program that was designed especially for people with MS. And so he started to undergo this routine, and things started to get better. But there were still some dark days. There were days that his wife had to help him get dressed. And he appreciated her support along the way. He began to work this routine and this function, and little by little his symptoms started to dissipate, and the words of the doctor seemed to be far in the past. So now it was time to set a goal for himself, and he decided that he wanted to go into natural bodybuilding as the way to augment his routine. And so he hired a trainer 6 days a week. The trainer put him through his MS exercises and this special routine. And little by little he began to build himself up so that after a couple of months he was ready to be in a bodybuilding contest. And so he put together a 3-minute routine. And the day of the competition came, he went out onto the stage, and he went through his 3-minute routine of flexing and stretching and showing off the body he had worked so hard to build. And then he walked off the stage, and as he was waiting for what the judges were going to judge judge him, he noticed that all his family was sitting in the fourth row. And when it was announced that he had been placed sixth, they all stood up and cheered. And he came out and took a bow. When the competition was over and they were getting ready to leave the auditorium, Jason's father came up to him and put his hands on his shoulders and said to him, "Jason, I'm so proud of you. You're number one with me." And then he went on to say, he says, "You know, Jason, we build foundations for a living, but the best foundation of all is family." Jason and his wife Tracy have 2 children now, and they are a blessing to him. But every day he remembers those words of his fathers. The best foundations of all is family. What's the foundation that you stand on? Families are a good one. Families are good foundations. They're worth our time and our energy and our love and our care. Families are there to give us support in time of tragedy and stress. And healthy families are the ones that celebrate the individuality of everybody in the family and gives them the right to grow and thrive as they still have that family connection. So my hunch is family is one of the foundations that we all stand on. But there's other foundations that we build and we stand on. Many of us have careers, and so we spend a lot of time and energy giving time to that foundation, to build it, to make it strong, and to make it secure. And then we have foundations like our social life and our personal life. All these foundations we take time and energy to give our attention to. But my hunch is that because of our preoccupation with all these other foundations, there's one that we probably don't spend enough time building or standing on. And that's standing on the Word of God. That's what we've been hearing about with Mary and Martha today. We've heard about how Jesus was on the road to Jerusalem, and as he was going through this village, Martha invited Jesus and his group into her house. So she was doing what a good host does. Preparing the food and making sure everybody was comfortable and arranging everything, what she was supposed to be doing. But as we heard, Mary was just sitting there at Jesus' feet. Now my hunch is Mary was the younger sister, don't you think? I'm just kind of getting this idea. She was sort of the younger one, And so Martha was getting all upset about this. And so as you heard, she turned to the authority figure in the room and said, "Jesus, do something about this. Make her help me." Well, first of all, Jesus was doing something that most rabbis wouldn't do. He was allowing a woman to sit at his feet while he talked to the men. That just wasn't socially acceptable then. It's another example about how inclusive Jesus was. But you heard what Jesus said. "Martha, Martha, you're distracted by so many things, but Mary has chose the best part." Martha was the distracted one. And so we remind ourselves of doing the best part. Now my hunch is most of us are probably Marthas. I'm just kind of guessing. I have a colleague that one time in a worship setting, he had people get up and sit whether they on the Martha side or on the Mary side. And I have to tell you that the Martha side was so heavy, I thought the building was going to flip over. Our culture encourages us to be Martha, to be about doing things, and less about reflecting on things and taking the better part. A colleague of mine, Reverend Lillian Daniels, who's the lead pastor at the First Congregational United Church of Christ in Glen Ellen, Illinois, wrote in her most recent book that is entitled When Spiritual but Not Religious is Not Enough, talks about Mary and Martha in one of her chapters, where she says, I feel like I want to defend Martha, She said, I'm the one that's always, doing two or three things at the same time, trying to be busy and trying to accomplish a lot of things. And she said, it really struck home to me one time when I decided that I wanted to go to yoga class. And she said, I was there for the stretching and for the, the experience of going through all the positions that you do. But what did the instructor make her do? For the first 3 minutes, they had to sit down and concentrate on their breath and meditate. She said it felt like 3 hours. I said, come on, let's get, I'm here for a little, that pose and stuff we're supposed to do. And she said, I've always wanted to defend Martha. She said, I bet she was listening. She was paying attention to Jesus. She was just off to the side, getting the salad ready or something like that. But then she goes on, Reverend Daniels goes on to say, but she says, I've learned over time, when I give myself those 3 minutes, my yoga experience is richer. And when I get to the end, when we breathe 3 more minutes at the end, then I'm more at one and at peace because I took that time. So what I'd like to invite you to do today is not get concerned whether you're a Mary or Martha, but decide how you could be both. How you could be Mary and Martha. Because I think Jesus is inviting us to be both, because we know if we spend all our time just reflecting, nothing would get done. Because I bet there's a bunch of Marthas out there in the kitchen getting the annual meeting dinner ready right now. So hi out there, we're talking about you. But there's a way that we can do both. So I have a little assignment for you. It's a 4-week spiritual workout for you. So today's February 24th. Palm Sunday is exactly 4 weeks from today, March 24th. So what I'd like to invite you to do is to get out your Bibles, and between now and March 24th, read Luke chapter 9 through Luke chapter 19. About 11 chapters. So that works out to be about 3 chapters a week. So that's Luke 9 through 19. And you can do it several ways. Now, I know you've orthotized. What you're going to do is you're not going to do it every day. You're going to do it every other. So, so you're going to read chapter 9, and then the next time you're going to read chapter 10, and chapter 11, etc. But another way to do it is to look at the chapter, kind of look at it, and read half of it. And then the next day, read the other half. And then go on to the next chapter, etc. And what I'd like to invite you to do is to read that half a chapter, and then just sit for a few minutes and just meditate on what's the lesson out of that particular scripture, and what you're supposed to be doing with what you read that day, and how that enriches your life. So that when you come to Palm Sunday, see if your life is in a better place, a richer place. Reverend Daniel says that she used to always have people say to her, and she said it too, oh, I'm so busy. My life is so busy. And she's come to the place to say now, my life is rich and full. My life is rich and full. Let's see if being both a Mary and a Martha in the next 4 weeks, if we could say our life is rich and full. A minister was talking about a member of his congregation. Harold was on the church board, and he was a preacher's kid, so he knew the importance of the material things that the church needed. So when he was on the board, he was the one that when he was asked to take on an extra project, he said yes. And he was always kind of the go-to guy when there was always a task force or something, and everybody was really pleased. But after about 4 years, he started to turn down the request, and even got to the place of at one of the meetings saying that the work of the board was unspiritual. Well, Harold began a little worried about this, and so we made a pastoral call. But Harold said, I grew up in a pastor's family. I watched my father work hard and to build up the church. I know that's important. He said, I'm in my 30s now, and for the first time, I went on a spiritual retreat. And it was both shattering and invigorating. And I've started to read the Bible and pray. And now my faith has taken me off in a different direction. Harold doesn't serve on the board anymore, but now he's one of the most innovative and alive Sunday school teachers of the church. All because he followed his path of what God was calling him to do. We're invited to live our faith, to help the poor, and to work for justice, and to sing and pray together, and to keep this magnificent church going. But we're also invited to be a body of Christ that invites the Spirit of God into our life and allow God to carry us into our future. So let's not just worry about whether we're a Mary or a Martha and point at the ones that we're not. Let's try to be Mary and Martha and find the joy in both praying and meditating and doing in Jesus' name. Amen. So, one of the things that we're going to do today is we're going to commission the transitional